conversation. Special thanks to Gerald again for taking the time to sit down with me and have this discussion. And again, I don't really care if you subscribe to my channel. I just do this for fun. But I really hope if you're a diehard sports fan like I am, especially if you love the Lakers, please check out Lakers Fast Break. It's a great channel. They really do in-depth coverage. They're live after every single Lakers game. They do content daily throughout the course of the basketball season, and any sports fan would be lucky to get to be a part of their community, and they'll welcome you just as they've welcomed. Thank you guys so much, and welcome as always. This is Stefan Piscano with the Stefan Piscano Podcast. My guest today is Gerald Glassford. He is the founder and content creator for Lakers Fast Break and many other platforms on YouTube, which I want to explore. He's about the status of the current Lakers roster for a little bit here. My listeners that aren't familiar with Lakers Fast Break and haven't heard your thoughts, where do you think we are? In my humble opinion, I think we've either slightly exceeded expectations that we all had going into the season, or we're right at what we thought it would probably end up being, right around a 50-win pace. But what's your thoughts on the status of the Lakers right now? Where would you like to see improvement, and where are you most disappointed?
Well, to start off with, we do a poll, and you can find this in the notes section of our channel where people write notes for their channel. You can find every one of the regular panelists that stop on by, whether it's Legend from I Got Next Sports Media, Laker Tom, Jamie Sweet, the Lakerholics, everybody except for Joe, who I don't like to participate in these things, and I just like to shoot off my mouth, and just say I'm right later on down the line. That's what he'll tell you. But everybody else, I think it's over 13, 14 different prognostications. Almost all of them had the Lakers 4th, 5th, or 6th for the season. Mm-hmm. I had the team in 5th place, I believe, in the Western Conference, and they're right exactly where I thought they would be. Yeah. They're a flawed team. They could have, they chose, and again, I've said this on the show, and you've heard me say this on the show. Rich Paul, the Clutch CEO, the guy that LeBron leans on as his best friend and comrade, as far as the guy who helped set up the LeBron James Clutch empire. I don't agree with a lot of he says, or I don't agree with the timing of what he says. But the one thing he did say when LeBron picked up the option on his $52.6 million a year contract was that the Lakers were on 2 timelines. They want to be a competitive team now, but they also want to leave plenty of that beloved cap space open for the following summer or the following summer thereafter.
As they should.
Well, there's a problem with that. With the Lakers fan base that is 17 titles in, that sees Boston right there in front of them with 18, and is very pissed about the fact that they've gotten ahead of the Lakers as far as they're concerned. They want a title now. And if you wanted a title now, you needed to do more in the summer to get to that point. And we're seeing the effects of that.
I'm shifting now. I'm sucking up to you, Gerald, to loving debate, I'll call it. But this team, my opinion, and I think this season is you could not have a more perfect example of it. This team is never going to win another championship with LeBron James on the team, because he can't be on the team and not be a prominent top 2 option for it. And as long as he's a 35-minute, roughly per game player, top 2 option on offense, we're not going to win a title like that. It's not possible. There's no one we can add, especially with his $52.6 million salary, that can put us over the top. The best we could hope for is if we get a good draw and get lucky, maybe losing in the conference finals, but that's where we're at anyway.
Well, I say to that is, though, that back in June of last summer, when the decisions were still being made as far as how to build and shape this team, Rob Pelinka did have the time and opportunity and the cap space to make decisions going forward that could help the team. He could have made decisions based on what assets that he had to trade for players. Maybe that could have helped this team a lot better. I know a lot of people at that time, like myself, had said, for instance, I'll use an example. Getting guys like Trey Murphy III, a really hard look at seeing if that's the type of player that you could get at that time. Now he's played so well that ship has sailed. Herb Jones along with him as far as his teammate, that would have been an excellent type player. We saw then as a defensive stalwart that could have been an option. But again, the lack of interest in spending any excess money and getting three players. No, hold on. Good value players, and no one's going to argue with that because they did get them. He did get them on good value deals.
Yeah,
but they're not players that are going to move the needle far enough in the direction of OKC, and that's where we're at now. I field questions all day long, literally all day long from around the world. Yeah. From people who are just adamant on trying every mock trade on the universe, but they don't get the fact that Rob Pelinka is on a certain timeline, and it does not look like he's going to deviate from it. Now, I'm hoping I'm wrong, just for the satisfaction of those people who want Rob to do something before the trade deadline. But
so you really think that's smart? You really? Hold on.
At this point, no. At this point, no. Unless Giannis Antetokounmpo comes knocking through that door, or New Orleans makes a bad deal and gives you gift wraps you Troy Murphy III and Herb Jones in a package deal and gift wraps them to you. They go stupid like they did when they gave up their 2026 unprotected draft pick to Atlanta. Yeah, those are the kind of, you're hoping for that, but unless that Luka Doncic type deal comes walking through that door, I don't see making a big splash enough with whatever little trade assets we have left to.
It's not possible
really close that gap right now to OKC.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, and honestly, maybe this is how it's always been. This is an evolution for me, being somewhat new and very new, because I've really only I didn't realize this live chat stuff with live streams existed until about a year ago. And so it's been kind of fun for me getting to engage with other Lakers fans. And growing up originally in Alabama and then Oregon, my whole life, I've been used to being, and now living in the Bay Area in California, I've been a Laker fan kind of by myself. And I've always heard people talk about stupid Laker fans were, always demanding trades and all this. And I always like, what are you talking about? We're not like that. And to be honest with you, the last couple of years, I think we are kind of like that, because not just your stream, used to go into the Laker Nation stream a lot, and it's just idiotic stuff, and this is who they
are. This is who we are around the world. You have to understand now. That's one thing I've learned and acquired in my years of doing this, is that it's not just an isolated part of the fan base. It's a actual, sometimes unrealistic look from the fan base, because they want to win, but that's what happens when you get spoiled, Stefan. When you get spoiled, Stefan, when you're given the gold ring 17 times, guess what you want more than anything? That number 18 to go on.
And we do have good stuff following our laps. We going all the way back to Wilt Chamberlain and Shaq and Luka now, and getting Magic with the first pick, Worthy with the first pick. I mean, we do have lucky stuff happen to us. So.
And it incenses other fans when you rub that in their face like that. And I try to not do that as much, but yeah, there are people out there who are incensed at the Lakers. And you know what? I can't say wrong. The Lakers have had a lot of luck. I mean, who knew when Rob would sit down with Nico Harrison for a dinner date that he would end up getting the opportunity to get Luka Doncic? Now, to your credit, to your boy's credit, he did get the deal done, and he got it done, with that. But those rare successes from him are a problem, because his talent evaluation might have prevented from other championships being won, and I'll just leave it at that. But before you get to your next question, I got one question for you.
Okay, what do you got?
What do you think? Well, the Lakers have Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
How much do you value Luka Doncic? How good of an individual player do you think he is?
I mean, so, and this is the thing, and before we've kind of already dipped our toe in the water, but before we really get into the Pelinka stuff. And I don't want this to be, I mean, it's occurred to me, I think I'm a pretty nice guy in real life, but it's occurred to me in some of my little silly videos and some of my podcasts that I come across more negative than I intend on LeBron James. So I don't want this to be a bash fest, and you really do cover him, I think, really fairly, because you're not Lakers. And that's why I couldn't watch Laker Nation anymore, is I felt like it was just a LeBron James promo. Like it was just like
Yes.
an infomercial. I just couldn't take it. You're positive when it's positive and you're negative on the things that are negative. So I give you that respect and that credit for it. And I don't want to overly attack him, but the facts are the facts. And this isn't even the Pelinka stuff I'm talking about, but it kind of gets into that. We were 11-4 this year when he was sitting out. We started the season 11-4. Okay. LeBron, while that was happening, the LeBron supporters in the media were already teeing it up. Oh, wait till he gets back. All these haters are ready to say XYZ and all this stuff. His first few games back, I was on your stream and in the chat, I said, I love the way he's playing right now. Third option. He was averaging like 14 points a game.
Sharing the ball more often.
Sharing the ball. And that was fine. But I knew it wasn't going to last, and it hasn't. And now what are we, 20, are we 25 and 16 is off the top of my head, or are we 26?
26 and 16.
20. So that means since he's been back, we are 15 and 12.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 15.
Not impressive. Not impressive.
No.
He had to get his sea legs under him before he started feeling what he feels. And he is frustrating. He is one of the most divisive players in the history of the NBA. There's no two questions about it. And if you're a LeBron hater, I can see why. If you're a LeBron lover and a LeBron supporter, I can see why. It's so the thing I never I used to be a huge LeBron supporter. But that's just the noise, all the stuff he brings with him and does that's so unnecessary and so detrimental to a team concept. It's just so hard for me to grasp. And I know you see the GOAT canvas art behind me. That was actually graciously given to me by @TripTripShop on Instagram and Twitter, because he is a huge LeBron supporter. And so out of respect, I put that up for him. But, LeBron James is just so divisive. But the reason why I ask you on Luka is because if you really value Luka, as someone who is in his prime now, that is one of the best players on the planet, my question is to Rob, why didn't you do more to build a team around him every single year?
Thank you for asking again, because believe it or not, my whole LeBron thing I just did was a long-winded. You remember, if you saw the Trump Joe Rogan interview and he said, I'm a weaver, Gerald. So I was weaving back to that. Yes, I think that Luka was universally regarded as a not top 5, but top 3 player before the trade. And I'm actually, if I ever have time to do it, I'm working on a video that I've been working on for like 6 months that I'm probably never going to put out if I do to get 25 views. But it's got clips of Bill Simmons and Nick Wright and all these guys and gals on all these networks and platforms saying that he was a top 2 or top 3 player before the trade. Then the trade happens. All of a sudden, he's fat. He's a top 10 fringe player. This is what, and to your point about the noise with LeBron, this is what happens to people that are in LeBron's infrastructure. My defense of Pelinka's too, it's not like I just love Rob Pelinka. Tired of people in the infrastructure that need to be scapegoated so that LeBron James' failures as a player can be propped up. And that's what I think has happened to Luka. So yes, I think he was and still is a top 3 player in the NBA. I think it's insane the way the league's gotten, that we've got a guy that's almost averaging a 34-point triple-double, and it's just kind of like, no big deal. That's where we're at.
Our fan base on there. Half the crowd loves him, half the crowd hates him.
I know, but to me, and I think he proved that. I'm so grateful we got the opportunity to see it for 15 games to start this season, how beautiful this team could be. And now this is where I start to feel bad, because I know this is going into that LeBron hate area, and I'm really not trying to do that, but it's just true. I mean, and it's okay. The guy's 41 years old. He had an incredible career.
That's something people don't put in perspective sometimes, is as much as we can piss on LeBron, for lack of a better term, sometimes he doesn't go and play defense, or he argues with the refs like Luka does, or has his own agenda, or pads the stats. He is playing better than any 41-year-old has played in the history of the NBA. But he is still 41 years old, still taking up 50. It's like a tit for tat. Conversely, yes, he's 41 years old and playing as well as a 41-year-old can do, but he's taking up $52.6 million of the cap, and you're not getting your full value on that. And that's just the bottom line. It's just, which LeBron are you going to get? Are you going to get old LeBron, or are you going to get spry LeBron? Because you will not get the LeBron James that you know and love for years every single game. It's just not physically possible,
No.
even for him.
It's not. I mean, and again, yeah, good credit to him that it's even possible ever. Like, that's
Yes.
amazing. I mean, it really is. But I'm just tired of it. Like, even LeBron hating aside, it's exhausting to me to have, kind of like what Mark said on your stream the other day. It's exhausting having this guy's aura and his, to where it was so fun the first 15 games of this season, having these game winners, and Luka's out for a couple games, and Reeves averages 44 points a game and is hitting game winners and all this stuff in Minnesota. You were having Rui Hachimura was shooting 65% from the field. Laravia had a few moments in the sun. Ayton was getting praised and talking about having a $20 million. Then he comes back and they're slightly above 500, and now it has to be somebody else's fault. So in answer to your question with what should be done, I would do exactly what I hope. As a Laker fan, I'm rooting. I guess I'm the only one. I'm rooting hard that we do nothing. That's the smart thing to do. And that was what I said going into this year, and they've slightly exceeded my expectations. Have this be a fun year where Luka scores a bunch of points, wait for LeBron to get off of the team, get that $52 million in cap space. Plus, I think we've got total, I think you know the exact numbers, around $100 million in cap space this summer. Right now, we only have one first-round pick we can trade. In the offseason, we'll have two. You educated me.
Actually, you'll have three. On the draft day,
night, right?
Yes, draft day, you will actually have three, because the Lakers could trade that 2026 pick as soon as they make the pick, which they've done previously on a few occasions this decade. And it's just the thing is, though, when you look at it, though, and I don't secretly want it to happen, but it looks like it's going to happen where not enough is going to be done to move the needle far enough for OKC. It's just a fact of life. It's just, as much as you don't want it to happen, it looks like it's going to happen. But the fact is, again, it's just a year of Luka's prime that you could have gone back 10 years from now and say, you know what, man, I wish they would have done more in advance of that season.
I just genuinely don't think there's any, other than what we both said, Giannis. There's no move that could be made, and I don't even know how you get Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, not the Lakers with their expiring contracts don't. That's just not enticing enough. They only have, like you said, one first-round pick and one second-round pick and 5 pick swaps, and that's just not enough in today's NBA to get multiple players. Which, again, with this roster construction the way it is, Stefan, it's just not where it needs to be. There are serious holes that not just one player.
We're running low on time here, so to set up the Rob Pelinka stuff. So we've had some fun back and forth, and it's all love for my side. It's all good.
Same here.
And I know that as Joe was teasing me about, I'm on a cliff or an island or whatever it is that I said, I'm on an island. I'm on Rob Pelinka Island.
Well, there's Vando Island for Vanderbilt Island, and then there's Rob Pelinka Island, which you are the master and the ruler of right now. We're going to give
just me. But it's not like I started out a Rob Pelinka fan, but this constant hate that's directed at him, and I more saw it even on the Laker Nation stream, to where we have to blame somebody for the fact that in LeBron's 7 seasons with the Lakers, 5 of those 7 seasons, we didn't win a playoff series. And we missed the play-in or the playoffs, I believe, 2 of those 7 seasons. So that's a failure, and it had to be blamed on someone other than him on the court. So we have to blame the players around him. Now, all of a sudden, Anthony Davis, who was a universal top 5 player when he came to the Lakers, led us in scoring when we won the championship in Orlando. He's street clothes, which is true. I mean, he fell off a cliff with his health. But to me, on what we're talking about here, just to keep it congruent, we're talking about a gap year, and our gap year, and I understand we have high expectations as Laker fans, but our gap year, we get to watch one of the best players in the league average 34, 8, and 9, win around 50 games, maybe win a playoff series. That's our gap year. And then next year we go into the offseason with all of these assets where we can really be a championship contender. We would be idiots to do anything other than that. And the perfect example of that, you brought up the Oklahoma City Thunder, who we all believe that unless they have a major injury, which nobody roots for that, nobody's really going to realistically beat them. Look at what Sam Presti did. Sam Presti, he sat there in the cellar for 4 or 5 years
Actually,
building.
less than that. It was actually only a season and a half. They actually had one real season of tanking, and due to Sam
tried
Presti's,
hard.
he tried. Remember the bubble? They were a playoff team.
Yeah, Chris Paul.
So,
yeah,
and Dennis Schroeder,
Yeah.
and the start of SGA. So he had already made the initial trade with the Clippers by that time that set the franchise forward to where it is today. But he, in the year that he tanked, or year plus that he tanked, he just maneuvered just so many different acquisitions, and just has now just they are the best run franchise I've ever seen.
I agree.
I think without a doubt, because not only have you set yourself up for your present, you've set yourself up for future. You have talent, young talent, inexpensive talent, and you have a myriad of draft picks you can acquire talent with and still draft future talent for years to come. And it's just amazing to see. I've never seen a organization run by someone who has set this up so well as Sam Presti.
We agree, and you'll never hear me put Rob Pelinka or anyone else in Sam Presti's category. He's up there with Jerry West and Red Auerbach to me as far as general managers go. So yeah, I agree. He's the best we got doing it, and he's one of the best of all time. But my point is, he was allowed to do that. He was allowed to have the flexibility from ownership and from the fans and from the players to wait. And yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. They only had 1 or 2 seasons where they really bottomed out and fully tanked. But then the third season, they were about a 41-win team off the top of my head. I can look it up.
Yeah, it's growing because they're a young team. Yeah. So, with the growing pains, but you saw growth each and every year until finally they hit the top.
So Rob would never have that opportunity because he's basically trying to do a miniature version of that and reset after having the clutch influence on the franchise, LeBron's influence on the franchise, Jeannie Buss, if you want to blame somebody up top, I would blame her.
I can't support that because, again, she has, as that article reiterates that we talked about at the very beginning, she has given full support over the years to Rob. And actually, when it came to, she brought in Magic and Rob at the same time as president and general manager. So he's been general manager before he became president of basketball operations. He's been general manager throughout this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And he has had, because of his Kobe ties, universal love from her. And it actually, if you read that article, it goes into the fact that she has more trust in guys like him and the Rambi, aka Kurt and Linda Rambis, than she does for any of her own family members, which tells you how much leeway he's been given over the years. Well,
but Jerry, you know this, and the article alluded to this. That was my whole takeaway from the article, is that, well, yes, you're right, and that's what it said, and that's my perception of it as well, is that she does definitively trust Rob Pelinka, but all of them were put at the behest of Rich Paul, aka LeBron James, and Clutch Sports. No?
Well, let me ask you this. If you're a strong enough willed GM who feels like he has full backing and a relationship with the owner like he does, and you have, the lack of a better term, guts to go ahead and say no, you need to say no to a Westbrook trade. I drove 300 miles from California to do a specific show on the day of the Westbrook trade to say how bad that trade was. And I was spot on. And we're still paying for that trade.
We all knew it was bad. Yeah, okay. I agree.
But you know what? Rob should have had the guts to say to LeBron, no.
So you blame...
I blame Rob for that.
What percentage blame? You give him 100% blame for that?
Oh, I give him 100% because the buck stops with Rob. I don't care about this little dinner plans that he had, that LeBron had with them, and that's all great and well good that they had their little plan. I don't care if you have... There are GMs in sports that just don't take any BS, that say, you know what, it's my way or the highway, that I'm running this team and I'm running it my way. If Rob has that luxury of Jeannie's backing, and it could have put up a front if he wanted to, even on Clutch, the Ivica Zubac trade, people say that was Magic's trade.
Yeah, that was
okay.
Magic.
He was
Magic
in the room.
That was Magic.
Who was the general manager?
Yeah, but come on, brother. Magic went on First Take and he said that was him.
The general manager could have gone to the president and said, you know what? This is a stupid trade for Mike Muscala. And then we'll go on as far as his evaluation of talent. There's only one player that he has drafted that he kept in the 2020s that is actually a contributing player today, and that's Max Christie on the Dallas Mavericks. He is not able to go ahead with ever the scouting team, which was the buses, which, of course, they were unceremoniously dumped. But the Jalen Hood-Schifino, the other,
who was
the
a clutch
Dalton Connects, the Bronny James. It doesn't. These are somebody
Okay.
should tell Rob, hey, Bronny James. I don't care if you're accommodating him or not. Bronny James is not an NBA level player. He averaged 5 points at USC
Yeah.
and is coming off a heart attack.
Yeah.
Why do you even waste a draft pick on him?
Well, you're
That
right,
is
but
and give him a 3-year plus an option guaranteed contract.
I know.
You give a Thiero this year, a guy that you traded up twice in the draft to go get, not just once in the second round, you traded twice.
Yeah.
And you gave a guy with bad knees another 3-year guaranteed contract.
You don't like Adu's game, though? I think he's got potential.
He's got
like
bad
him?
knees. It doesn't matter if I like his game or not. You haven't seen him for 10 minutes. He's been on the floor. You and I have been on the Lakers floor almost as much as he has.
You're making my point, though, because
there's several players that are currently playing right now that are playing and contributing and that were picked after Adu Thiero, just making it even worse for the Lakers because all these players could be helping fix some of the Lakers' problems because they're a poor rebounding team. They're the worst bench in the league. They can't shoot. They can't offensive rebound. They can't play defense a lot of the times. They are a statistically really poor team, and a lot of that has to go directly on Rob for constructing this roster.
Well, let me ask you, because this is interesting, and I didn't think it would go this way, but
no worries. But all is up between Steph.
No, that's not even what I mean. What I'm saying is I didn't think you'd take, because it sounds to me like we agree that correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe I am, but all the moves you just named, except for maybe Adu, all of those we agree came from Clutch's influence, LeBron's influence.
No,
You're just telling me
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who brings.
Well, but no, here
he made the decision.
Let me give you the question, though. The question is, I think if I'm hearing you right, which I think you just answered, is you're not disagreeing that that's where the influence came from. You're just telling me, which I could kind of get behind this if this is what you're saying, Rob should have said no. You're blaming him because he didn't put his foot down. Or are you telling me
not all of these players are Clutch related?
Because Jalen Hood-Schifino's a Clutch client. The huge client we gave to CP, or what's his name, Caldwell Pope, Clutch client.
Was Alex Caruso over THT a Clutch client? Alex Caruso had more talent, and it was a bigger imprint on this team, especially a championship winning team. But you cited because your talent evaluation, or you know what? The worst thing you do is have a preference to make bad decisions based off of a relationship you have with someone else. So if you're telling me that a lot of his decisions are based off of citing because it's to make Clutch happy, that makes him even a worse GM.
Well, if that's your position, then I could understand that, and I really wouldn't have.
But his overall talent evaluation is just very suspect. I didn't say he was the worst GM in the league, and so I don't want anybody to quote me that.
Well, and I'm not saying he's the best either. My position is he's a top.
Average.
To me, he's a top 5 to 10 GM, and I think that he's Can you, and I'm not even going to put you on the spot because I had to look it up, but can you tell me 5 GMs that are better? Like most of us, even diehard fans, probably can't even name 5 GMs. Honestly, I couldn't until I looked it up.
I could, right? I could.
Can you?
Yeah,
okay.
I could name, he's not even
that are better than
ballpark.
him.
Oh yeah.
Because I would give you, if you count Danny Ainge still, I don't know if it's him or his son, I would put Danny Ainge ahead of him. I would put Presti. I would put, oh gosh, what's the
Boston Celtics GM right there for you?
Yeah, that's the guy I was just thinking of. Whatever his name, Brad Stevens.
Okay,
yeah,
you can talk about right now the Detroit Pistons are looking pretty good, and a lot of that has to do to roster construction from the Detroit Pistons GM. You could talk about Pat Riley who is
if you count him as a GM, I mean, he's in his 80s now, right? I don't know how much
he's been masterminding those moves for Miami for years. Do you still count him as a guy? Yeah, I would count him over.
If you count him, then I'd put him ahead of Rob. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I could also go with, like I said, Sam Presti, the San Antonio Spurs. They've been still doing a nice job all these years, and now they have themselves a top 2 team in the Western Conference.
Whoever the Rockets GM, I would probably put him ahead of. But it's once you get to that
Rockets,
5-6
Houston
range,
Rockets, Minnesota Timberwolves, I would put.
No, I would not put the Timberwolves. No,
Tim Conley,
that Rudy Gobert trade was one of the worst trades in the history of basketball.
So you're talking about the guy who built the Minnesota team that went to the Western Conference Finals twice, and the team who built the foundation for what was to become a year or two later an NBA championship team in Denver. That guy is not above Rob Pelinka.
Let me tell you, because I haven't really told you my full. I think I've kind of alluded to it, but just to go on record with you with this, my position with Rob is that he has been completely handcuffed for his entire GM experience with the Los Angeles Lakers because of the and what you need to remember that neither of us have mentioned yet, it's not just that Clutch controlled LeBron. They also had AD. And so he had to appease not only LeBron, but they used AD. I remember one season a few years ago, I felt like, and I think the article alludes to this too, they didn't want to give LeBron an extension, but they were held hostage because AD wouldn't sign unless LeBron had an extension, and they were afraid of media backlash. So you're held hostage on what you can do. It's not a coincidence. And if you want to tell me, okay, he should have more backbone,
That's exactly the word I was going to use, backbone.
Well, I got it. That's a good argument if that's where you're going with it. But anybody that tells me that Rob Pelinka woke up one morning and was like, you know what I want to do? I want to trade 2 first-round picks for Russell Westbrook. And everybody else was like, I don't know, man. He's like, no, I'm doing it. That's insane. That's batshit, pardon my language. There's zero chance.
Again,
you don't believe that, do you?
Talent evaluation skills are below average. I think he's a below average GM who's been like you said, we prefaced this a little while back about the Lakers being a lucky organization at times. And you know what? The Laker fans don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that we've had that kind of luck. But you know what? He and the Lakers organization have that kind of luck. If Luka drops in your lap, that's the kind of luck.
Okay, that's LeBron, the other thing.
Back in 2017, already tells the organization, which according to that article, he did, that he's going to go to the Lakers. That's like a pick up the phone. You want to come to the Lakers?
Here's the deal, though.
Sure.
Okay, and I know you got like 3 or 4 minutes, so I'm going to do this quick. But those the 3 things I want to tell you where I got slowly converted, because I really didn't like Pelinka when he first was involved, and I'm a Magic's was my favorite player before Kobe, so I love Magic. So I really didn't like how that went down either. But Magic tried to get the same deal done for AD and couldn't get it done. He steps down. Rob gets that deal done. That was impressive in hindsight for the same terms, basically. Then getting off of Westbrook. Everybody thought it was going to take 2 first-round picks to get off of Westbrook. There was a little thing that I thought was brilliant that he did with that move, that he got off of the contract, brought in role players that got us to the Western Conference Finals that year. He gets 0 credit for that. 0.
Well, why did it happen in the first place? Because
LeBron and Anthony Davis and Rich Paul pushed for it.
That again, if you have a backbone, you don't let that happen.
Yes.
Your common sense will tell you. You can tell LeBron, hey, Westbrook couldn't hit a broadside the barn. You were guarding him in the second round of the playoffs in the bubble when he couldn't hit a broadside of the barn. I
agree. The trade made no sense.
The trade itself makes no sense because the guy executing it just absolutely
my gosh. So you don't give any idea. You said you don't give any blame to LeBron. Last thing, and I would talk with you more about it, but I know you got to go.
But when he doesn't play defense, I'll give LeBron. And as you know, that happens quite frequently these days.
Well, I'll just say this, and this is the biggest thing. The Luka trade was so lopsided that all of us universally had the exact same reaction. I haven't asked you this, but I'm sure it was the same as mine.
Well, I give him credit for that. It was put in his lap. He said, here's Luka. What are you going to do for me?
Here's the deal, though. It wasn't just put in his lap because, so I'm in real estate, right? If somebody calls me and has a property that they want to sell me, and they say, I'm looking to get like 200,000 for it, and I know it's worth $1 million, I still have to close that deal. I have to bring it across the finish
I give him
line.
credit. And I give him credit for closing the deal because, again, with only one first-round draft pick, and I said he is a below-average GM in my eyes, and it's continued to be such. But he has shown, on occasion, like you said, that
he's a deal maker.
Deadline that he can get a deal done. But all the mistakes and all the his resume has a longer line of red than it does black. And unfortunately, when you lose so much money as a business and you have a couple successes, it's like what I say. Okay, you went to college, but you got a couple of A's or A pluses, but most of your career was filled with D's and F's. Does that mean you were successful in college?
Well, but what if you wrote a PhD paper that got you a Nobel Prize nomination or something? I don't know, because that's what that Luka trade was. And he whittled it down. It wasn't like it was a 2-day thing. It went on for weeks, right? To where at first there was multiple first round picks and there was other assets, and he whittled him down. That's some of the most beautiful negotiating I've ever seen. So,
but then I could go back at you and say Alex Caruso, Ivica Zubac, because he was the general manager for that. You could say it's magic all you want, but again, as a GM, you got to have the backbone to say no on that. The Russell Westbrook trade, the draft choices this decade, a myriad of how many players are playing in the NBA right now that could have been filled out the Lakers roster. Jay Huff was leading up until Wembanyama playing enough games. Jay Huff was leading the league in block shots. He just got a 29-9 game the other week. He was there and available for the Lakers playing, and they let him go for nothing. Scottie Pippen Jr. Was the only bright spot for Memphis in their first round playoffs against OKC last year. He was right there on the Lakers roster. There's a myriad of players that have had the opportunity for him to capitalize on and just didn't do it.
All right.
And players that he could have gotten that have succeeded in other areas that were available. They've been waived by other teams. They were free agents that he could have gotten in.
I'm going to give you the last word out of respect and gratitude because I know you got to go. But
no worries. It's been a great conversation. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. So
likewise, Gerald. Well, thank you. And just in closing, guys, please check out Lakers Fast Break wherever you get your podcast and YouTube specifically. Also, Pop Culture Cosmos and everything that Gerald Glassford is involved with. And Gerald, thanks again for taking the time.
I look forward to it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to speak to me. And if you ever want to rehash this discussion, maybe after the trade deadline, when Rob pulls off another miraculous trade.
I don't want him to do anything. I don't want him to do anything.
Maybe he will. Maybe another Luka will fall into his lap. So maybe he'll be at dinner with another GM, like John Horst of Milwaukee, and say, "Do you guys want Giannis?" And he'll just like choke in his water. Like
that's what we need to do. Just have him hang out in restaurants, I guess. Yeah,
exactly, indeed. But no, it's great speaking to you, Stefan. I'm wishing you and the channel so much continued success going forward, and I just cannot thank you enough for being a part of what we do at the Lakers Fast Break.
Appreciate you, brother. All right.
Appreciate it.